On Veterans Day, startling new numbers about the care our servicemen and women receive when they return from war. Let's just say they serve us, but in many cases, we're not serving them. If you live in LA County and you're morbidly obese, you get to move to the front of the line for the swine flu vaccine. As you'd imagine, there are some people in better physical shape that aren't happy about this. And run for your lives, a landslide caught on camera in Tennessee. I'm guessing there won't be any more driving on that road in the near future. November 11th is the day we pay tribute to those who have worn or continue to wear a uniform in service of this country. On Veterans Day, we say thank you to those who have sacrificed and remember those who have lost their lives helping keep America safe. A number of celebrations going on around Los Angeles today, but not every veteran is celebrating. 131,000 veterans nationwide are homeless. 4% of that number fought in Iraq and Afghanistan. Over 2,200 veterans under the age of 65 died last year because they had no health insurance. Is this any way to say thank you? Our contributors tonight, nationally syndicated columnist Amy Alkon, the advice goddess, and radio talk show host and civil rights attorney Leo Terrell. Leo, I'm going to start with you. You're on the clock. Does the government do enough to take care of the veterans?
No, and veterans are political pawns, Fred, because depending on if a war is popular or not, the veterans are always the ones who get the shaft. They make it possible for you, Amy, and I to even live in this country. Some of them make the ultimate sacrifice. There should be no expense spared for veterans to have health care and making sure that veterans are not on the streets. The numbers that you mentioned at the outset are staggering.
Amy?
Actually, well, I think we have to differentiate. I am totally for giving combat veterans, people injured in combat, every bit of health care, and I'd like to give them a chicken in every pot and a new Cadillac every month for the rest of their lives, for what they do for the rest of us. If you're on a desk job in Texas, you can't afford health care, get a second job. You know, they get 2 free years of health care after returning from combat duty. It's excellent health care. And then if you're a poor veteran, there actually you get really great care. If you have, I think if you make $35,000 and you have one dependent, you can get free care. And I think a lot of the problem is letting veterans know that. You know, and copays. Oh, wait, I forgot to say copays. If you have money, you might have to pay a copay. Guess what that is? $15 for a primary care physician visit. And, you know, MRIs, thousands of dollars. You pay $50 for an MRI.
But Amy, let me ask you something. Are you saying it's the veterans' fault here that they don't have better care because they're not taking advantage of it?
I think that people aren't differentiating between combat veterans. You're injured in combat,
Hey.
There's a difference between being injured in combat, Amy, Leo, calm down.
Amy, if you're
injured in combat, desk job in Texas, different.
Go ahead, Leo, go ahead.
Amy, if you're limiting veterans to just those who fight in the war, no. There are National Guard that does military work within our country and overseas. So do not discriminate within the armed forces as to which veterans are more important than others.
Okay.
All veterans should be the same.
I'm going to let you go into overtime. Amy, I'll give you each one more thought. You're going to overtime.
If you carry a gun and someone might shoot you, then you get all this great health care. And if you're carrying a pencil, no, pay for your own.
Leo, last word?
Absolutely wrong. What you're doing is creating classes within the military. All veterans are all the same, and they should be given the same treatment because they can all be called to active duty.
Leo, I got to tell you something. I'm with you. Okay.
Thank you.
Swine flu has claimed the lives of 32 people in Orange County and 65 people in Los Angeles. San Bernardino County has declared a state of emergency over the lack of vaccine. Delivery is 45 days behind schedule, so right now there's a shortage. Who should get it first? In Los Angeles County, the morbidly obese have moved to the priority list. Researchers believe the obese might be at greater risk of complications from infection. No one wants to be obese. Then again, there are some obese people that choose to do nothing about it. If you're in good health, are you penalized here, Amy?
Actually, you know, it sounds like that, and I'm going to avoid the cheap jokes, and there's so many I could make, and I want an award for that. What they're really talking about, it weighs down the medical system because these people are most at risk for complications.
Right.
It's a public health issue. So they're protecting the healthcare system, even though it sounds like they're screwing all of us over. Because the thing is that when the morbidly obese person comes in, they take care of them. They don't look at them and say, oh, sorry, you ate too many donuts, go away.
I don't like this whole concept of placing one group over another. You know, I'm a civil rights attorney. I want fairness. What about the older? What about the senior citizens? What about the young? What about the pregnant? It doesn't it's wrong to put one group over another. And I want to see the research. I want to see the factual data that says we should put one class over another. I just don't like the entire concept at all.
But, Leo, if you were to see that research and you were to see that indeed the morbidly obese had a greater risk of catching the swine flu, would you be in favor of it?
You know what, Fred? I got a problem with that only because I can look at other classes of people like senior citizens. What if senior citizens who have a very weak immune system?
Okay,
how do we measure one class over?
It's actually
it's just wrong.
It's actually increased risk of having underlying illnesses. And so they're very costly for the system. They're not looking at people saying, oh, it's about you're more deserving than somebody else. It's about the weight on the medical system.
Well, then it comes down to money.
We're talking.
Yes. See, Leo is a classic lefty. He thinks there's a bottomless pot of money, and there isn't. And I love our vets. And I don't want things to be unfair. No, but it's
Amy,
always
don't try to
comes
read
down
into
to that.
Don't try to read into my mind. Don't try to read into my mind. My point is this: I don't want a class of people given preference over another group. I want to make sure everyone's treated the same way. And again, the senior citizen, they're more susceptible to illness than any other group. But I don't want to place them over any other particular class of people.
All right, let's move on.